Right, let's see how we do with this hand. It seems okay. Seems okay. 3 lands. The Goshen Tie is a tough deck, though. At least we have some removal, bounce, and exile. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, Ironicus' Vaal duplication. Having 2 Talions is kind of cool. I think the deck is kind of like torn between flickering itself and copying itself, I guess. So if we go for Talion next turn and choose 4, withdraw whenever Goshen Tie comes down. But then they could just have removal, right? And then suddenly everything just sucks. Without any protection, Talion feels so weak. So weak. We could use the Raven form in the following turn. Flash. I think we're just going to foretell this. And yeah, pass a turn. See what they do. Why would they leave 3 mana up unless it was removal, right? They see the Talion, they want to kill it immediately. And we might even miss. Because the kill spell is probably going to be 2 to 3 mana. Goshen Tie. Okay. Come down. They make a dude. And this is where the problem lies, you see. We do not have any protection for Talion. Just bounce it. Although they come down, they get another creature. So, doesn't feel too good then, does it? Probably should have just used Raven form on it. Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad play. Fine, we'll see if they have removal, which is going to be absolutely... If they don't have removal, I will be very surprised. Yeah, it's a strange one. It's very reliant on not having anything kill it, but most things that precede it will probably want to kill it, right? Okay, interesting. So... Definitely going to Raven form this. Are we going to get away with absolute murder here? By having 2 Talions? And I think we'll name... We'll name 3. So we've got 3 and 4 now. And swing in. 2 Talions. Okay. The Lord of the Rings, the 2 Talions. Or the 2 Italians. Sanctum of Calm Waters. Wow, okay, well, it looks like I'm eating my hat, and the opponent doesn't have any removal spells, which is kind of bizarre. Very, very bizarre. I think we just swing over the top first. Turns out having 2 Talions is kind of insane, isn't it? We could even go for another Vaal duplication. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But we do need a land before. Let's go for the Tome Raider here. Damn. This is looking kind of insane. So they're going to draw 3 cards. That's just silly. That is silly. If they try and kill the Talion, it's tempting to bounce it back with a Fading Hope. Seems likely they'll have something, right? We have 7 flying coming in at them as well. How crazy would it be if you had 10 Talions out and then every number was named? Oh, we draw another card. Go for the throat, okay. What are they waiting for here? I'm slightly worried. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If we get to a position where we just have almost lethal... Like, they're not going to be able to cast any spells, right? I think 3.5 is a sweet spot for Talion. I know that's a strange number to say, but most spells do gravitate around that value, I believe. Go to the consoles. Right, just go here first so they don't gain a life. So we've got 10 flying. Let's go in the air. Okay, play the Grotto, Scry 1. Tap land. How do we stop them drawing? So stop them drawing one there, another land. Not very exciting here. I think we'll kill this shrine as well. Just basically stop them drawing 3 cards a turn, which is ludicrous. And we've got 3, 4, 5. That's got flash. We don't actually need to play anything else, do we? I don't think. Because if they have a board wipe, we've just lost everything anyway. And if they play any spell that's 3 or 4, they lose 2 and we draw. Time Warp, get an extra turn. Okay. Does that save them? Go on, play another spell, I dare you. So if they play anything that's 3 or 4 here, they won't be able to play anything else that's 3 or 4 again after that. So 3, 4. Okay, we'll see what they got. It's unlikely they have a board wipe because, well, they just played a creature. So if they play Goshen Tai, it's still 4 mana, just with the 2 extra attacks. Annoyingly, when we play this Fairy Vandal, they're going to gain a life with the authority of the consoles. Goshen Tai. Okay, so let's play this in response. Cast a spell with value, power, or toughness equal to the chosen. So we go hand. Oh, that is crazy. So they're at 4. And they quit anyway because I don't really know. That was a bit strange. And welcome to today's video, which is Talion, the Carney Lord, brand new, fresh off the press from Wilds of Eldraine. I'm going to try a new style of video today, and what that is I've had one of my good friends send me in his deck list in Discord, and he's called Darkbeam, and he's been in Discord for a long time. He's a really cool guy, and he's given me this Talion, the Carney Lord deck list, which I think is a really cool twist on something that I don't think I would have made like this, but this is a very mid-range kind of tribal-y aggro style build. So the deck, as you can see here, is missing some cards. So what I'm going to try and do is, I would of course love to play people's deck lists as they're handed to me, but this is going to be part of the video. I'm going to try and improvise and swap things out, and hopefully this gives people a more realistic look into deck building and how you could edit and kind of get around the downside of the game. Not, it's not friendly to new people, so if you're a new player, this might be very interesting to you. So we're going to look at the cards that we don't have, and I'm going to try and see what replacements we have. Sadly, we don't have enough wild cards to do everything. I only have 2 rare wild cards, so I'll probably get to pick a few here just to see which ones we want to keep. But in terms of all the cards in the deck, I just don't think it's going to be possible. So if we start where the deck doesn't really matter too much where the wild cards are, is the land. So we've got a Choked Estuary here. So I'm happy to unlock that one, because it's only an uncommon. And the good thing about this card is, in paper, this is actually a rare. So the fact we've got that as an uncommon in Arena is pretty good, because it means it's better for the economy, essentially. We've got Sunken Hollow. Now, I really don't want to waste a wild card here, because a rare, it could be used for a legend. So I'm just going to remove that one. So again, apologies for this Dark Beam. What I'll do is I'll try to get as close as possible to the original build as possible. I'm going to put an extra island in here because I can see it's very heavy on blue sources. We do have a Secluded Courtyard, so this is tribal. So annoyingly, I don't think there's a way to unlock things individually unless you do this, because you have to go and type it in and then hit craft. So you can, if you're an absolute baller and had all the wildcards, you could just go here and press craft all. But as you can see, it says not enough wildcards. And if you do right click on a card you don't have, it doesn't do anything, which is really odd. It doesn't actually do anything. Right click just brings up tokens or other things might be related. But Yes, so we only have 2 rares left. What do I want to use? Well, this is a mythic, so we can't use this. Grave Pact is a mythic. Such a shame we don't have a mythic for that one. Vendilion Clique, mythic. Obera, that's fine. We can definitely unlock that because that's a really cool addition to the deck. So this is going to be more of a methodical kind of slow approach to it. And I think what I'll do is after a few games, we'll come back and see if we have changed our mind on any of the picks we are going to add. So being a tribal sort of build, Dark Beam wanted to have quite a lot of fairies. The Iron Crag, it's a 2-mana rock, but the upside, it can become an artifact equipment. I'm really not too bothered about this. I'm happy to take out a legendary rare 2-mana rock for literally anything else, which is an uncommon or common at the same level. So we're going to look at 2 mana, and we're going to filter, and we're going to add. And so we've got Arcane Signet. I think we'll go for Cold Steel Heart. This is something most of you can afford. It's just a common, and it gives you a color. It comes in tapped. There's an addition. One thing that Dark Beam has got in the deck is 37 lands. Now, I'm going to honor that until I've had a few games. Normally, I go to 40, but we'll see how that goes. Bitter Blossom, very difficult to replace this, but we can try and find something. Let's have a look. What can we replace that with? Well, I've already noticed that he doesn't have... what's it called? I know... It's funny, right? Because I know what cards do. It's just sometimes I struggle with the name. I know it's a 3-mana enchantment. There we go. Black Market Connections. Now, this is actually... I'm surprised this isn't in the deck, because it's only a rare. And it creates changelings. And now changelings are going to be great because they'll trigger anything that cares about fairies. So sadly, we're going to have to say bye to Bitter Blossom. But we'll see you again soon. Don't forget, we can always add things later on. It's not the end of the world. It's fine. So we've got a pretty good... I mean, it's not necessarily a downgrade. It's 1 turn slower, but I think it is a stronger card. Swan Song is an interesting one. It's one of the greatest counter spells in the entire game. I'm not talking about just Historic Brawl. I'm talking about literally the entire game of Magic. So I think we're going to take this out, because I don't really like wasting rare wild cards on cards that have similar effects. So I think we can take out Swan Song. So this counters an enchantment, instant, sorcery, which is really good. But what we can do is we can filter by the CMC and instant. And there's a very close resemblance with an offer you can't refuse, counter a non-creature spell, and it gives its controller 2 treasures. Now, Swan Song gives them a 2/2 flying, which can kill you, and this gives them 2 treasures. This is risky, but in order to honor the similarity, I will go for this, which I think is pretty good. This is also a staple in Commander, which I actually love using. Now, one very sad thing is Kindred Discovery here. Do we have that unlocked? The game doesn't do a very good job of telling you what you have and haven't got unlocked sometimes. You have to just make sure all the filters are off. And let's go to enchantments. See, so this is this interesting thing about the game you need to be aware of. We don't have this card in this artwork, should I say, but we do have it in this artwork. So it makes it look like you don't have it. You just click that, and then we click onto this again, and it re-adds it to the deck. Okay. So we're doing good so far. I think in terms of similarities, I'm pretty sure we've got some close things. 37 lands still okay. So what else have we got? We've got Vendilion Clique, which is a fantastic card to flash in, disrupt your opponent's hand. Let's just see. So in order to honor this, let's look at what fairies are available around that mana cost. Don't forget, fairy is spelled in a different way in Magic the Gathering. So, as I said, we do have 2 rare wild cards, but I'd like to save them for things we really... Draw a card, discard a card. Whenever you attack with 1 or more fairies, draw a card, then discard a card. When you discard a card, this way put counter on top fairy control. That's pretty cool. I wouldn't be too sad to unlock that. All these other fairies. Return target spell to its owner's hand. Interestingly, this acts similarly to Vendilion Clique, because Vendilion Clique comes down, looks at someone's hand, and they put that card on the bottom, and if you make them do that, draw a card. This feels similar, and it's a fairy. And it's already unlocked because it's just an uncommon. I think I'm going to go for this. Again, I'm trying to be very stringent with these unlocks because I'm mostly a free-to-play player. And sadly, I'm not an absolute baller and I can't afford loads of cards because YouTube just doesn't pay that well. I haven't actually seen much of output from YouTube, very sadly. It's just very difficult to grow. So for the meanwhile, I will have to live off people's donations. Details in the description and below. So Grave Pact, also another fantastic card. Whenever a creature you control dies, each other player sacrifices a creature. So I don't think there's anything like this, really. Let's have a quick filter. So whenever creature dies, and it's looking black, and then let's go for rares and mythics, just to make it a bit spicier, makes it a bit easier to find. What have we got that's going to be similar to this? I mean, the Meat Hook Massacre, this should probably be in the deck, right? I mean, it's not like Grave Pact, really, at all. But maybe we just put it in. It's just so good, right? So sadly, Grave Pact's going to come out. Clever Impersonator, this is an interesting one. This can become any permanent or non-permanent on the battlefield. Again, we don't have it, so we're just going to have to... I've just seen that Dark Ritual's not in the deck. Oh, this is the thing. This is the thing. Trying to honour the cards. Trying to honour the cards, but it's so hard to not have Dark Ritual, isn't it? And no Thoughtseize as well. I think in order to get some good games, I think I will have to. I'm going to have to put in a Thoughtseize and a Dark Ritual. I'm really sorry, Beam. Really sorry. So we're going to take out the Clever Impersonator. And Crux of Fate. That's a mythic. That's a rare in real life. That's ridiculous. So we're going to have to take that out, I think. Yep. And then Virtue of Persistence. This is such a good card. But again, no mythic left. So we will go with Reviving Creatures, Power, and Control. I mean, we could just... The closest thing to this is the OG Shieldred. So let's just do that, right? In order to honor as much as possible. Okay, it's a bit of a strange addition. And how does that look? So I think so we can see every card is crafted. And this could work. So Beam, I hope this is similar enough to your build. I really do apologize for taking out a few things, but just not seeing the Thoughtseize at least, and not seeing the Dark Ritual just kind of triggers me a little bit, especially only 37 lands. But let's see how this goes. We'll have some games. We'll come back. And we'll see what I think about your build. And this video should be transformative. So we'll come back and see how it's changed, how it goes, and overall how you feel about it. And in the future, if anyone else wants to send me their deck list via Moxfield link in the Discord, let's do it. Let's see what else we can do. Maybe I can help people transform their decks, improve them in some way. Okay, let's get into the games. Okay, so Beam knows me pretty well to suggest me wanting to use this list, because I do absolutely love Dimir. So, what do we want to get down first? We can't use the Wash Away anyway, so let's just go for the Hive of the Eye Tyrant first. This deck list seems so cool, even with the modifications I've made. Facing is Sauron's going to be pretty tricky. It's got Flash. Okay. The cool thing about Talion is we've got a lot of options. Orcish Bowmasters. Yikes. Okay, so I might actually want to use the Shieldred's Edict in response to them getting... Although it doesn't actually matter. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Okay, yep, so we're going to say goodbye to the Bowmasters there, because that is very good against Talion. Ledger Shredder. Okay. It's going to be a tough match, I have to say. The issue I'm thinking with Talion is when they come down, it's going to be really difficult to keep her alive. Do I want to just... Yeah, let's just counter this. That's too much ramp. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value power, toughness equal to the chosen number. The issue is we don't know what they have in their hand. So this is why things like Thoughtseize and Duress would be really good to kind of hone in. But sadly, we're just going to have to deal with what we have here. I don't really want to... I don't really want to play Talion yet. It's an interesting kind of duality here. I think in Commander, probably a bit better. Let's bounce that back to their hand. What do I think of Spell Scorn Coven? It's okay. If it had Flash on the other side, it would be pretty crazy. Faceless Agent should give us something else. I do not want to really draw any more, let them draw any cards, because I feel like they're down mana. They don't seem to have... Okay, so now they do have it. Staff of Completion. Okay. Let's try and artifact creature. Now, we don't have a way to deal with Sauron, which is kind of concerning, because we have to sacrifice a legendary artifact or creature. They're just going to draw a card. Let's kill the Ledger Shredder. How are we going to deal with this Sauron? This is a tough matchup. Very tough matchup. Let's just go for Fairy. And, okay, so opponent just quits there? I'm not really sure why they did that. Considering the field. So they had 5 cards out. One of the best rocks, 4 cards in hand. What a peculiar. I mean, I think the lesson here to be learned is that just because you feel like you're not doing well, I wasn't very confident with my hand. If you're out to win games, just keep playing with Dimir, because people are terrified of these colours. Absolutely terrified. Okay, so we've had a few games now. It's time to go into the deck and see what I can do to maybe improve the way I think it could work. I think, firstly, I will say that I'm really not a huge fan of these MDFC lands. I just feel like they're too slow, and unless your deck is really built around them, I just would rather take them out and put in regular lands. Also, missing lands just really hurts, and Agadeem's Awakening, I just don't feel like the deck is a very graveyardy deck anyway to kind of make the most of it. So let's put in a few lands here, and I just want to make sure that I'm not missing out on any rare lands here that I would find to be mega useful. I mean, I would actually say Coslock Thwain is kind of an unmissable card in any black shell. And Phyrexian Tower could be okay if you had more sacrifice kind of theme. Any blue-black lands we're missing in rare here. So it's just good to be a bit thorough. Okay, so that seems fine. So how many lands are we at now? So 40 is where I feel really comfortable on having that amount of lands. Okay, so now how do I think about Talion? So as I was saying previously, it's a really tough one because as soon as you play Talion, people tend to just kill it instantly, and it kind of makes it a bit of a bummer. So I'm thinking maybe something with Hexproof would be pretty good. Or just something to give Hexproof 1 off as a trap would be kind of nice as well. Because I know we do have like these phasing things. Bounce. 1 blue is probably the place where you want to be. Once you start paying 2 mana to give Hexproof, it doesn't feel so great. So Shore Up, I think, and Dive Down. So those are 2 ways to give Hexproof in the coloured spells. And then probably just go for Swiftfoot Boots as well, I think. So we've got a few ways there. What should we take out? I feel like Mishra's Bauble is good, but in hyper-competitive builds when you're rushing to get to the bottom of your deck. In decks like Talion, I'm not feeling the synergy myself. So yeah, I'm really sorry, Beam. I'm just completely ripping out the original ethics of the deck. But this is how I essentially would build it. Wizard class, again, is good, but it doesn't synergize with Commander. And I just feel like it's a bit too slow. Consider as well, no synergy with the Commander. What else did I not like? Seems fine. Trying to keep the fairy theme. What else do we have? I think Celestis is kind of slow as well. having to work around day and night in a deck that doesn't really care about it hurts a bit. Modern Age, it doesn't turn into a fairy either. Wow, so let's just see what fairies we're actually missing here. So just doing a quick search. Not collected, rare and mythic. What have we got? Favor Wishes, Likeness Looter. Draw, discard, becomes a copy of a target creature card in your graveyard. Is that okay? I mean, we can try it. We have it unlocked. And what else did I feel like it's missing? Are we missing a Pact of Negation here? It's 4 mana into 5. How many creatures do we actually have in this tribal deck? 21. It's a little bit low. Maybe we want to have a couple of ways to exile and then return it to the battlefield. So not just hexproof. Oh, that's a good thought. Something like the Displacer Kitten could be good here, but I just feel as though... Would that be a bit too slow? Exile return. Let's take it off Mythics and Rares so we can see the commons here. Essence Flux. So because it's an ETB, I think flickering it is good. So 1 for Essence Flux is probably fine. Would Thassa be good in something like this to make it change every single time? Or would it be more interesting to go just for like loads of clones? So what if we went for copy, not legendary? How many effects like this are there? Except it's not legendary, isn't it? Copy, accept. Okay, so what do we have? I think Spark Double, yeah. Could be a weird kind of clone version of Talion. Does Undercover Operative care? Not so much. What else do we have? Storm of Saruman can give you 2 Talions. Our curve is pretty low, to be honest. Maybe Storm of Saruman would be good in a deck with not too many creatures. Yeah. Give it a go. That returns all things of the same type. This feels quite slow as well. Invasion of Fiora. And it doesn't actually... So it's the other thing that I like to keep in mind with these flip cards is that when they flip, so when you give someone this battle, how quickly can you actually attack into this and get rid of it? It's got 4, whatever you want to call it, 4 hit points. So your commander can't actually one-hit this. If it had 3, I think I'll keep it in. It doesn't turn into a fairy either. So we're not technically breaking the fairy rulings. What other fairies are we missing out on here? That's good. I found Fairy Vandal pretty tough to kind of get off. Dice. Casted Adventure Spell. We do have quite a lot of the good ones. Lifelink, if you have another fairy. Is that good enough? Probably not. Ego Drain. If you don't control a fairy, exile card from your hand. If you controlled a fairy, is this resolved? Invasion of Eldraine. I mean, that becomes a fairy. Becomes a fairy. But it's got the 4 hit points again, which is kind of dissuading me. How many rogues do we have in the deck? Because this Una's Blackguard would actually be pretty good if we had lots of rogues. Let's see. Rogues. There's 8 rogues. Probably should have just put in the whole word there. Blackguard. Interesting that there's 2 Blackguards from different places. Don't think Master Blackguard is from Lorwyn, but... Okay, so this is good, because whenever this comes in... so whenever rogues come in, they come with an initial counter. Whenever you control the counter and it deals damage to a player, that player discards. That could be good with a few rogues we have. What do we take out for those 3 things we've added? Dran the Lock, again... I don't feel like this is that great in decks that don't mill, because you're just waiting for them to have X number of cards in their graveyard. And I just don't think we're doing that very often. Coalition Construct. What other, like, tribal stuff are we missing? Name a creature. Name a creature type. What does Litjara say? I've not spelt that. Oh, what's it called? How do you spell that properly? I know it's a 5 mana enchantment in blue. It is called the Reflections of Litjara. I mean, this should be in here, right? It copies any tribal. Choose a creature type. Man, the semantics of this game are rough. Choose a creature type. So we got those already. What else does it says choose a creature type? So I've got all those. So at 5 mana. What else is there? Metallic Mimic. Distant Melody. Icon. Automaton, Pillar. Only for creatures, though. That really does hurt that. I think we're doing pretty good so far for the tribal things. I mean, if we did have some spares, then it wouldn't be too bad to get these. Okay, so we've got something like a copy sub-theme, right? So let's craft that with 1 uncommon wildcard. How do I feel about Unclaimed Territory? I don't feel like there's enough... I don't think this card is good in 2 color tribal decks, because you want to be casting all sorts of different spells of different colors. So I think taking that out would be good. Yeah, and I've never found these useful in 2 color tribals, or typals, should I say. And is the scrying there any good? Maybe. But is it better than having an actual color? Probably not. So it's a complete overhaul here. 38, 39, 40. And I think Vantress is probably too slow to provide real value, because if we're going long in a deck like this, are we doing what we wanted the deck to do? So I think the mana base is fine. Counter spells. And the thing about counter spells is how you have to ask yourself this question. What is the strategy and plan of your deck? Are you just trying to slam creatures down and draw go? So there's 2 types of magic, basically. There's draw go, which is play a monster and pass. Or there's don't play anything, pass, and keep the mana up. Now, I've played Magic a long time, and they don't really mix. You either kind of go full flash kind of control-y build, or more reactive, or you go more aggressive. Now, Talion's a lot more aggressive, because if you wait too long with Talion, you're just going to get absolutely annihilated, because they're not going to wait around and wait to cast a specific spell to give you the cards you need. So I think having a few counterspells is fine, like Counterspell itself. But Lofty Denial, it's not really going to be that great. Founding the Third Path. Yeah, I'm completely changing this. Favorable Wind is awesome. 1 more. Wash Away is fine because it's so evil. Again, these really cheap interactive spells are just absolutely fantastic. Would I have something else like a Duress? Probably. Trickster God's Heist. Is the deck wanting to swap creatures? Do we do with this card? Do we have creatures out that we want to lose? I don't think so, because we're tribal. We care about the type or the tribe. So swapping them with something else, yeah. How about this? We'll give this a go. Let's see. Let's see in some more games. Okay, so we go first. See, the game, even with 40 lands, only gives you 2. So let's... I think we're going to have to mulligan this. Yeah, and I already feel a bit more confident here. It's a bit more my style after that editing. So you don't have to follow my trends. You can do whatever you want to. But yeah, this is just how I would personally change things to be a bit more smooth and kind of limit the amount of things going on. Because in my time playing Magic, I feel like the fewer pieces your deck has, the better. That's got flash, so we're going to ambush TSP Sentinel. The fewer moving pieces your deck has, the better time it has, essentially. Because it's more resilient, more reliable. Okay, and if they attack with a Sentinel, we're definitely going to block. Let's have a Lightning Bolt, of course. Now that Sentinel's dead. Pretty good. Pretty good. Swinging over the top, and now we just leave up the counter spell. And we'll go for the Changing Outcast. Okay, so looking pretty damn good. We also join them for 1. So Obira is pretty cool. The artwork on this is insane. I can't believe this is an uncommon. SRAM. Yeah, let's get rid of that. We don't want them to draw any additional cards. And that was pretty damn quick. Jeez. Okay, so we get to go first. It's a pretty decent curve, actually. Sear into the Herald's Horn is kind of nice as well. This is the kind of hand you definitely want. Okay, let's go for Fairy, sir. Scry 2. Ooh. Removal and a clone. Yeah. I'm actually kind of happy about that. So when it enters battlefield tapped, choose a colour. When it enters battlefield, scroll 1. If you weren't the starting player, you may untap it. If you weren't. Okay. This has got flash, so we're probably just going to flash in the Fairy Mastermind and the end step. Sigarda's Aid. Okay, so it's a Voltron build. This is a very difficult to interact with card. If they get this out, there's not much we can do against them. So, I think we'll just swing in first, see what they do. They're going to have 3 mana in the following turn. Let's go for black here. And another Fairy on top. And yeah, let's slow them down. Let's return that to the hand. Counter spell. That might be one of the very few ways we can deal with Sigarda. Okay, so bouncing 1 time there, Ornithopter Paradise was enough to take him out. So I guess that's the power of just tempo plays like a Fading Hope. If they hadn't had another land in their hand, that may have been the reason why they didn't have wanted to play any longer, because this doesn't actually tap for green. So yeah, maybe the Ornithopter was their only hope there. We kind of Stone Rain them. Okay, Urabrask combo build. Not going to be very good with just 2 black sources in hand. Okay, we'll risk this. Urabrask versus Talion would be pretty awesome. There is Storm build. Talion can really, really slow them down. Because it's going to drain them for 2 every time they cast a 1-drop. Man, this could be a pretty awesome matchup. As long as we can resolve Talion, that is. Rob of the Rich. Reflections on top. Do we care about Rob of the Rich? Not really. Let's get out the Colesdale Heart. So if this survives, we're going to be able to get out the Talion in the following turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they can actually go for the Urabrask in the following turn. They've got the Wash Away. That's a shame. That would have been nice to have. Well, stage again. That's... Oh my goodness, so many spells in exile here. It's getting a bit confusing. Erebor Flamesmith. Whenever you cast instant sorcery, deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay. Let's try the Talion here, and then go for 1, I think. So there is Storm build. They might have a few of those. And if they just go for the Urabrask here, set up for the following turn, then we can kill it with the Feed the Swarm. Either way, I feel pretty safe as long as they don't kill Talion. If we get 1 turn to just defend our guy with the Swiftfoot Boots, we should be good. And if they attack it in, I really don't think we're going to block, because they probably have a way to deal the extra 2 damage if we do block one of their dudes. This artwork looks oddly too futuristic, especially for Lord of the Rings. She looks like something from, like, Iron Man or something. Strange. Erebor Flamesmith. Okay, so no blocks coming in here. And as you can see, Strike at Rich is 1 mana, and so is Faithless Looting. So they cost either of those, we're going to get to draw a card and they lose 2. But they're going to go for the Urabrask instead. Cool. Shieldred. So we definitely want to kill the Urabrask. And 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think we're just going to go for a blocker here. And we don't want to actually block with Talion. So let's swing in, because we know they have something, because they wouldn't have attacked with both of these. Some form of lifelink would be nice. Double cast. Whenever you cast your next spell, they're going to copy it. Is it going to be 2 lightning bolts or something? Or what's it going to be? Rob the archives. Okay. They can't cast any of them unless they want to take damage here. Okay. 3-2. So that's annoying now. It's going to come in. Deal 3. Do we want to block that? We'll be down to... No, I think we'll just keep it a little bit. And we can gain control of something here. That would be pretty good. Maybe we'll steal that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we'll steal the Erebor Flamesmith. Man, we are really risking it here with only 7. But maybe it would have been better to steal the Urabrask. 3, 4, 5. If they play a land, they can do that. But at least we stop them dealing the 1 each time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 1 ring. Wowzers. They've got protection. But protection doesn't stop effects like Talion because it doesn't target them. So if they do go for 1-drops, we still deal damage. Shieldred as well. Wowzers. Maybe we just do that here. And we don't have any reason to attack because they have protection from everything. Do they have a humongous board wipe though? That's the only issue. 4, 5, 6. Or do we just have them here? This was a pretty risky game. Down to 7. What could Mono Red do? 20 damage to each creature and destroy a land. That would be devastating. And what do we get back in our turn? So the Shieldred can return any creature from my graveyard to the battlefield. We don't have any, sadly. So it is unlikely that we lose the Talion or the Picklock just because Shieldred can resurrect it and it will just be wasting their mana and cards. They have to be careful because, as I said, Talion is the anti-storm deck. Interesting. Kaito. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's put the hexproof on here. So they're going to lose the Urabrask in their turn unless they have some kind of flash creature. Down to 7.
The powerful won't help. Out now. What do we have?
Okay, well, do we die? They go down to 5. Oof, they're going to lose even more. Can they flip Ouroboros get instant speed? Shock. Okay, so that deals 2 damage to both of us. Ouch. So they have to win in their upkeep. Oh my goodness. Down to 3. They go down to 3 as well. Oh my goodness, this is scary. So they're doing this all in response. I look at Awakening. Oh my goodness, this is crazy. They're going to win, aren't they? So he should have actually attacked with the Erebor Flamesmith. And the pick block. Although they would have blocked. They would have blocked the Erebor Flamesmith. So even if we attacked with this... Actually, yeah, we should have attacked with this. Add Vigilance. Oh, that was so stupid. But what happens here? Do we just lose? They died to the 1-ring trigger. Now. So they change phases. Wow. Down to 1. So they need any instant. And they actually win on top of the 1-ring trigger. That's crazy. Did we get them? Do they have any instants? 1 damage? Oh, that was so scary. Oh, that was so scary. Yeah. Should have just attacked with this with the Vigilance. It's strange for blue creatures to have Vigilance, actually. It's a bit odd. And it's a brand new card, so forgive me for not realising that. Okay, so let's look at the post-game analysis. As I said in the beginning, this is a different kind of deck tech. I just wanted to show the process of going from A to Z and just trying to find your way into just the cards you like. This deck can go in many different directions. I won't show what I won't go through what I would change ultimately, because it would just take a lot more time and effort and would be here for ages. Deck development is a very lengthy process, but I think I'll do these again because I just find them quite fun to just, you know, kind of chip away at the block and see exactly what makes your deck building unique to yourself. There's no right and wrong answer really to deck building. You just have fun doing what you want to do. What I would say is with this build is I think I put in too much protection, especially compared to how many creatures in the deck. There are 23 creatures, and we've got, I think, a couple too many protection spells. I don't know if Wash Away and counter spells even needed in this deck. Maybe put more aggro in the deck itself. In terms of the fairies in the build, I don't think fairies are there yet. I mean, we only really have Una's Blackguard, which acts as a pseudo lord, and that's only with rogues. Still think keep in the deck, but try and aim for as many rogue variants as possible. We definitely need more lords. Beam was telling me this before, and I can completely see what he's talking about. Obviously, there are a few that I haven't unlocked, which are the artifact variants, which are the constructs, but I just not a huge fan of the colorless ones, because they're just not going to be as strong as the proper fairy type ones would be. Truth be told, I don't really think Talion is a fairy tribal build. When I first saw the list, I was optimistic. I thought maybe we can force us to work and see how it goes. But yeah, I think there's no synergy between this card, this commander, and fairies. It's just incidentally a fairy, which is fine. As I said, people have their own different ways to build. The deck itself does have some good support, like Vanquish's Banner, Kindred Discovery, and Reflections of Littjara. Absolutely crazy cards. But the meat and body of the deck needs to really utilize the commander's mechanics, and that is choosing the numbers, having multiples of them with things like Irenicus's Vile Duplication, and flickering it with protection. So maybe taking out the counters is a good idea, and just having stuff that re-enables it to come in. Even then, we don't know what's in the opponent's hand. Whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value, power, or toughness equal to a chosen number. Yeah, it's pretty versatile. There's a lot of different values, but I would recommend more ways to keep your opponent's hands transparent. So I would use a lot more discard effects. Thought to use duress, inquisition of Kozilek, all those. It does make the deck a bit more aggressively curved at 1. And it might mean you have to get rid of some of the fairies, but that is just the way some commanders work. Some commanders are just cannibalistic, and they have to ingest their own self, essentially enable, like an Ouroboros, the Eternal Snake, to work. And that's just a sad fact. Oh, it's not really sad, because there's so many cards in the game, and there's so many ways to build things. It's just the way cards work. It's almost like having a Shieldred deck without having loads of cards that draw or make your opponent draw, you know, or it's a bit like that. So I would probably not make this a fairy build, but that's not to say there isn't a good fairy deck to be made. We have a Bira, which is possibly a better fairy lord as such, because it wants you to have just a sum of fairies, and whenever x equals fairy comes in, something happens, right? And we can even use Panharmonicon with this ability. I mean, we could use Panharmonicon with Talion, but there's not many ETB fairies. So we're kind of going around in circles here, aren't we? So, long story short, to make this deck effective, I would have it more as a control-y mid-range build, kind of ignoring most of the fairy types. And I'm sorry, Beam, if that's not what the intention of your deck is. I completely understand. You play it how you want to play it. And anyone out there, play it how they play it. But yeah, that's just my interpretation of this deck. And I like to min-max. And if you don't know what min-maxing is, it's basically just getting the most out of all the stats a creature can have. You know, making the most of a situation. And with that said, I will put the final, so I put this deck list here that you can see here in the description below. But feel free to change, because that's just how the spirit of the game, right? To customize, change, edit, and use things how you see fit. So if you like the format of this video, tell me in the description below.
Did you know that you can help my channel by watching another one of my videos? Go ahead, you know you want to.